Hello and welcome to Throttle Up. Now, before we start talking about the nitty-gritties and the features of the newly launched Hyundai Tucson, I have to talk about the prowess of Hyundai's product designing team and how they look at their newly launched offerings. Be it the Creta, the i20, or the Verna, the previous generations and the new generations have a lot of differences in them, and it's a new car altogether. Even in the facelifts, the changes that they make just show how serious are they about designing innovation. And same is the story with the Hyundai Tucson as well. The previous generation was a more bolder and a curvaceous design versus this, which has a lot of straight lines, slanting lines, and cuts through it. It's a design which, even if you wanted to ignore, you wouldn't, and even if you wanted to hate it, you couldn't. Now, before I jump onto the conclusion and give this design a 11 on 10 just at the start of the review, it seems to be a good time to start with the review of the newly launched Hyundai Tucson. Now, the pricing of the Hyundai Tucson starts at around 27.7 lakh rupees and is offered in two variants only, namely Platinum and Signature. This is the Signature variant, which is the upper variant of the Hyundai Tucson, essentially the topmost trim you can buy. The Signature and the Platinum get only the automatic transmission since there is no manual on offer, and you get two engine options, which is one is the 2-liter petrol and second is the 2-liter diesel. You also get an all-wheel drive option as well in the Hyundai Tucson, which is only exclusive to the 2-liter diesel automatic version. There is no all-wheel drive version offered for the petrol variants. Now for the Signature variant, the pricing is 30.17 for the petrol automatic, whereas it's 32.87 for the diesel automatic and a 34.4 lakh ex-showroom price for the Signature all-wheel drive option in the diesel automatic. Now let's see whether the Hyundai Tucson is worth the hefty price tag of around 30 to 35 lakhs ex-showroom, and whether it has all the bells and whistles which you would not just need but also expect from a car of this price range. Now first, coming to the key fob, it is very different to what you see in the other Hyundai cars. It has a silver key fob with this black finish for the buttons and a chrome surround running across those buttons, so it looks really nice. It has this very curvaceous design which is very nice indeed, and it's good that it's differentiated from the other normal Hyundai cars which are of a relatively lesser price. Now opening the hood of the car, the first thing you notice that it does not get any hydraulic struts, which is kind of wrong. You get a lot of plastic cover for the engine. It's written Smart Stream and Turbo right there. So this is the diesel engine. This 2-liter diesel produces a maximum power of 186 PS and the maximum torque of 416 Newton meters, whereas the 2-liter petrol produces the max power of 156 PS and a torque of 192 Nm. So there's a lot of difference between the torque output of the diesel and the petrol variants. There's insulation on the bonnet to prevent cabin noise inside the cabin. Now the unavailability of hydraulic struts in this car is kind of a disappointment since this is an expensive car and you expect a lot of features in the Hyundai. Now coming to the front, this is the grille which takes the cake as the highlight element of this car, Hyundai logo, and the entire grille finished in gunmetal of sorts. You have this fin-like cut, a very diamond-like cut on the grille itself which intertwines with the headlight to give it a very cohesive look. That's the front parking camera right there, front parking sensors at the front as well, since it also offers a 360 camera, but we'll talk about that later. There's also a silverish skid plate finished in plastic, but at the very bottom, so you don't see it particularly, there's air dam at the bottom as well. Now this is the DRL unit which has 5 elements, so I don't think you even need any headlamp of sorts because the DRL is even so big. Now this is how the DRLs look when it's lit up. This kind of reminds me of a 90-degree horizontally rotated shark fin, and these right angle triangles and this fin-like design is visible across the exterior design of the car. I like how they have done piano black treatment in between those DRL cuts, so I like that a lot. The upper lamp is for the low beam and the bottom lamp is for the high beam. Now even at the corner of that lamp you can see these diamond quadrilaterals which are finished in gunmetal again. You also can see DRL written right there in very small font. The turn indicators are right below the DRL unit. Now there are 2 lamps housed in this unit down below the DRL. The upper one is for the low beam and the bottom one is for the high beam. Now you see this chrome garnish which runs from end to end on the front, which looks really nice and merges with this curvaceous lip of sorts which is down below. So The upper lip is the chrome line and the bottom lip is the skid plate. So it comes all together and looks really nice. The front profile is amazing to look at and it's very imposing if you see it on the road. Now as for the side profile, the length of the car is 4630 mm with a wheelbase of 2755 mm, which is very nice. It's a really long car and a really long wheelbase as well. Now the one very noticeable feature about this design is that it sort of converges at the bottom. Like if you see it from the front and you go towards the back of the car, it sort of converges, and there are a lot of cuts which make it seem like it's converging. The first one I would like to talk about is the cut on the back door. Now obviously it's not the only reason why it seems to be converging at the back, but then again you see this line which drops right after the door handle. One can also notice how the black plastic cladding right at the bottom also gets thinner right after that door cut ends. I think this design element in particular adds to the curvy appeal of this car. Now as for the door handles, they are in body color and I have request sensor on both the sides. The ORVM house the LED turn indicators and have this chrome line which merge with the chrome line on the door itself. They have the blind spot cameras on both the sides, which is a really nice touch. As for the wheel and the alloy design, it is heavily inspired from the SX and the SX optional variant of the Creta. I think it is identical to what we get in the SX variant of the Creta. Now the wheel size of this is 235/60 R18, which is a good enough size. The only thing that I have is that they could have played a bit more with the alloy design. I don't know, they could have messed it up as well, but still they could have played a bit more with that. Now the chrome is not on the door sill, but the chrome garnish is on the top of those windows which run from the ORVMs till the very end of that design on the side profile, and again has those fin-like cuts on that C-pillar. It looks so nice and it again then converges. You get roof rail which are finished in piano black but they are not functional. You get shark fin antenna in piano black as well. I love how they have done the chrome on this side profile. It starts with the ORVM and goes till the very end of that C pillar, which looks so cohesive. Even the C pillar glass is also triangular, just like the other elements of this car. See, the entire thing is sort of slanting down when it comes to the back of the design, and everything comes to be coming down. So again, that is why the convergence, because the bottom is lifting up and the top is going down. So that is why the convergence. Again, speaking of triangles, even the tail lamps are kind of triangular and resemble those fin-like DRLs just like in the front. The one thing that I most definitely like about this rear profile is that you can't mistake this for any other car. It is so different, it is so fresh. Even the Hyundais, there's nothing like this when it comes to the other cars of the Hyundai brand itself. So there's nothing which looks this good. Now, as for the Hyundai logo, it's not 3D, it's not outside the glass, it's inside the glass. So again, very classy and very nice. There's rear defogger, there's top lamp which is kind of like in a spoiler. Now the rear wiper is housed inside that spoiler, and behind that stop lamp it comes down to clean the rear windshield, and it's so smart to position it like that. Now the tail lamp runs from end to end. It looks fabulous when it's lit up. Again, slanting lines, those right angle triangles, all LED treatment. I love that design. Now this is how it looks like when it's lit up. It kind of has a theatrical experience with those crystal like lamps and again the slanting lines, and I love how they have used straight lines to make it look more curvaceous and round. I have no idea how they have achieved that. Again, those fin like design on the tail lamp, the straight line right in the center just like in the Creta as well. I am in awe of the headlamp and the tail lamp designs which they have done on the Tucson. Fantabulous job. Tucson badging on the bottom left. Now this is a halogen setup which is kind of a disappointment. You get reflector, reverse light and turn indicators. Again, a black matte diamond finish at the bottom of that chrome garnish with the reflectors on the either sides, so it looks nice. A silver diffuser with reverse parking sensors and reverse parking camera right there. Now the other thing that I appreciate is that they have not done any fake exhaust design, since the real exhausts are down below. As you can see on the right, there's no fake exhaust treatment given on this car, which is highly appreciated. Now coming to the boot, it gets a power tailgate function for the closing and the opening, so no effort required in terms of opening that boot. Now the space is a humongous 540 liters, and you can also add that by tumbling the seats, the back seats. The wheels also do not eat up much of the space in the boot, so it's very nicely shaped. 60/40 split right there, as I mentioned. Now for the other bits, you get a halogen lamp, a 12-volt socket for your power needs, which is housed under that lid. You don't need to put extra effort to tumble down the seat, because if you do that, the seat tumbles right there, and on the right side you get that 60 split, and you just have to pull it to tumble down the seat. So it's very convenient. You can have a lot of space. That is a parcel tray which you can hook if the tailgate is closed. Very smart of them how they have positioned everything. This is a subwoofer, a hook which is not just on the right side, it's also on the left side as well. So very ergonomically friendly boot. Now this is the spare wheel, which is an alloy, and it's also of the same size as compared to the other four wheels. It might look like the steel wheel, but it's not. It's a proper R18 alloy. So now closing the boot, again pressing the button on the tailgate itself. That's the button. Now it takes its own sweet time to close, but I'm not complaining since I don't have to do anything. Now again you see this slanting cuts on the plastic cladding itself. So again, there's a lot of design elements that Hyundai has played around with. Coming to the door pads, you get a very premium looking door with this ambient lighting cut running across that door. You get plastic treatment as well as leather treatment, most of which is soft plastics and leather treatment. There's hardly any hard plastic. This is very soft. It's a plastic, but it's soft. Ambient lighting, fabric. This is again leather, and that's again leather. This is the only hard plastic that they have used on the door. The overall finishing is top notch. The bottle holder is although really small, and you get speaker on the door as well. This is for the ambient lighting, as I already mentioned. The powered window button is also finished in really premium plastic. Even the plastic across it is very nice. The door handle is so good to look at and so good to use. It has this metal finish, and I love that finish on that door handle. This is to recline the backrest, and it's not just one or two settings that you get. It is reclinable at whatever angle you want it to be. Now the angle that you see in the seat which is put up is the farthest setting at which it can go, and this is the least setting, the most upright setting at which it can be reclined. So that is the range you're playing around with. When it is at the maximum setting, I'm very comfortable. It has amazing recline angle. Coming to the space that it has to offer, just look at the gap I have between my knee and the seat. The back of the front seats are finished in plastic, and you get magazine holders finished in net on both the sides. I just love how comfortable I am right now. The cushioning is spot on, the recline angle is spot on, the thigh support is so nice. I don't have any complaints whatsoever. It's all white leather, as you can see. You get adjustable headrest for the middle passenger as well. The armrest is broad. It's kind of on the shorter side. It's broad, but it's not too long. You get two cup holders in the armrest, and that's about the armrest. There's nothing extraordinary or special about it, just a normal one at that. As for the grab handles, you get a lamp positioned very neatly just behind that grab handle. The button is very nice and soft to use. The lamp is LED, and I love how they have hidden it right behind the grab handle. Now for the AC vents, very Mercedes looking AC vents with these sliders which are very nice to use, no flimsy plastic use whatsoever, two USB sockets which are not type C sadly, and you don't get any space to keep your stuff. So I don't know what's that about. You get matte plastic finish. And yes, the Hyundai Tucson gets the boss mode. The upper button is to adjust the backrest of the co-driver seat, and that is for adjusting the position of the overall co-driver seat. So very nice touch and good feature that they have given in the Hyundai Tucson. This is how the dashboard looks like from the back seat itself. Very neat, no clutter whatsoever, very nicely done AC vents as well, but we'll come to that in a bit. A huge panoramic sunroof that they have also offered in both the variants of the Hyundai Tucson. I am so comfortable right now. I don't want to get out and do the remaining review because I'm so comfortable. I have stretched out my legs and I am just reclined in that seat with these seats hugging me. I love it. Even the headroom is nice, even though it comes with a huge panoramic sunroof. It does slope right just after that seat, but again, even at that recline angle, I don't have any dearth of the headroom as such. Now, that's the space you get between the tailgate and the seat. So that was for the back seat. I am genuinely impressed by the level of comfort that it offers. I genuinely did not want to get out of the seat, but nonetheless I have to. Now coming to the front door of the car, very heavy, Similar treatment to what we saw in the doors on the back. Now you get Bose badging since this is an 8 speaker Bose setup. The bottle holder is still kind of small. You get leather on the door handles. This is hard plastic. This is soft fabric. This is leather. And that's a softer plastic. So very nice. I've already talked about the ambient lighting. There's also the memory seat function for the driver's side seat as well. You get electrical adjustment for the ORVMs, auto foldability as well. 4 window buttons which are auto up and down. The other buttons are for your window lock and door lock. This is finished in plastic inside, but again nice to hold and feel. Now you get 10-way electrical adjustment for the driver's side, which is exclusive to the signature top variant of the Hyundai Tucson, since you do not get this in the lower variant of the Tucson. This is obviously an automatic. You get proper dedicated dead pedal with the boot bonnet opener right there on the right hand side. Now that's not a cubby hole, that's just for wiring and fuse. You get headlight leveler, and this button, if you hold it, it'll obviously release the tailgate, as you can see right there. Now you can't close it because obviously since you have opened it, you have to keep your stuff, and then you would have to close it from down from the back itself, since it does not close if you hold it again, as you can see right there. Now if I had to close it, I'll just push the button and there it closes. Now that was for the middle button. Within those 3 buttons, the leftmost button is for the traction control to switch it off or on. Now AC vents are very nice. I love the AC vent treatment in the Hyundai Tucson, but we'll come to that in just a bit. Now getting into the cockpit is easy. The first thing you notice that it has 2 screens, both 10.25 inch screens for the instrument cluster and the infotainment as well. There's this greeting which comes on both the screens with the Hyundai logo in the end, so that's nice and adds to the user experience. The engine start stop button is on the left and is silver with blue illumination. Now even the digital instrument cluster does a full swipe up when we start the ignition, so that's a really nice touch. I love the resolution and the brightness on both the screens, and Hyundai has never disappointed in that regard, so love the treatment altogether. Now coming to the steering wheel, you get all leather wrap steering, obviously. Very nicely done piano and silver finish button, and a 4-spoke design which you also get on the other Hyundai cars as well. The left is for your infotainment controls and the right is for your ADAS, cruise control and the MID controls as well. So the silver buttons are for your ADAS and that black button on the left is for your MID. So now looking at the instrument cluster, you get the tire pressure monitor, you get navigation settings, you get speedometer on the left, tachometer on the right, the looks of which can be changed if you change the drive modes. Drive information, navigation, as you can see right there on the screen itself. It shows the direction, and the entire detailed navigation in the map is obviously on the infotainment. Right is for your tacho and left is for your speedometer. The temperature is on the center, fuel gauge is on the bottom left, and the odometer is on the bottom right. So very clean, very crisp, and the same instrument cluster you also see in the Hyundai Alcazar. The most noteworthy thing is that you get this analog treatment in the digital cluster as well, which is really appreciated since you get this old school appeal in the modern tech as well. Now for the adjustability, you get adjust for reach as well as rake. The lever is positioned at a very convenient level, so you can adjust the steering according to your driving comfort. Now this is how the dashboard looks like. It has a lot of soft plastics used, good black and beige treatment to give this a dual tone effect. The AC vents are what I love the most. The hazard lamp button is there with piano black surrounds across it. The AC vents are straight with these chrome garnishes across the sliders. The infotainment is a 10.25 inch screen, which you also see in the Creta. All the buttons are touch sensitive. They do not provide any haptic feedback whatsoever, but you get so many features. You obviously get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. There's also a host of ASMR sounds which you also get in the Mercedes and the Audis, like the universe sounds, forest, the calming sea sounds, which are to basically enhance your experience, and where sometimes you don't want to listen to the music, go listen to those ASMR sounds. So we'll stop that music and quickly look over the other features which this infotainment provides. So that's the main menu. The touch is very responsive, it's very fluid. You get inbuilt navigation, controls for the air conditioning as well. It's kind of redundant since the air conditioning controls are right below the infotainment, but you still get it nonetheless. You have the inbuilt navigation as I mentioned, which hosts a lot of features inside as well. Now as for media, you can obviously link it through Apple CarPlay, Android Auto and Bluetooth itself. It shows map on the right side and ASMR sounds and all the menus on the left side. Looking at the functions for the climate control, you get a lot of options where you can select and deselect specific things. like the auto humidity, defog, defrost, activation on washer fluid use. So there are a lot of things that can play around with the airflow as well. So this comes in a multi-zone air conditioning, so you can adjust the flow of the AC vents as well. As for the vehicle settings, you can go in the vehicle settings and lighting so as to set the ambient lights for the entire car. This also seems to be picked up from the Mercedes because they offer 64 configurable lights and with 10 brightness settings. So it is very similar to that on the Mercedes. Now there's some issue with the battery of the car because it's obviously a demo vehicle. So I'm not able to show you the ambient lighting as well, but it is amazing. You get so many options which you actually don't get in the car of this price range. So you can obviously go to the other settings for one touchdown indicator, the duration of it. You can adjust the headlight timeout as well. If you lock the car, how much time you want the headlight to be turned on. For convenience, you get rear occupant alert, wireless charging systems, climate again for circulation, automatic ventilation. There's so much that you would have to spend a day or two to just understand all of the features that they offer and to customize it according to your needs. So I love that infotainment. A lot of thought has been gone into that. So again, touch buttons as I mentioned, no feedback, which is kind of a miss. I would have loved it if they had some vibrating feedback. Now this is one entire cluster which houses both the touch AC controls and the infotainment finished in PR black, so I really like that. You can just touch it, again no feedback whatsoever. This is for fan control, the fan speed, simple, your normal conventional AC control buttons. So all in all, a very neat and clean looking center console. Now in terms of spaces, you get a wireless charger on the left as you can see and some space to keep your stuff in on the right. You get two USB sockets and a 12 volt socket at that. So that's USB, both USB sockets. This is a 12 volt socket and that's the light for I think the wireless charger on just between the 12 volt socket and the USB. You get cup holders in between, two very nicely sized cup holders. This is the center console where you can press this button and the center console would open. It has kind of a felt lining on the bottom but plastic on the sides, but it still has a good amount of space. I love the treatment of the gear knob with black leather and this chrome finish. This is an 8-speed transmission since this is a diesel option. In petrol option, you get a 6-speed torque converter. Now coming to the other buttons and other functionalities, that's for your electric parking brake and that's the button for your 360 camera, rear parking view camera. Now you get adaptive guidelines as well and there's also blind spot cameras and ADAS tech, so you get lane assist and all of that too. But on the screen you can see the 360 parking camera on the right and adaptive guidance for the rear parking camera on the left. Auto hold function, since this is the all-wheel drive, that's for your parking sensors and that's for hill descent control. So and this is to adjust the drive modes in the car. Now you can see the modes keep on changing and if I select that, the instrument cluster's layout will also change. The signature variant also comes with ventilated and heated seats. So the buttons on the inside are for your heated seats or the co-driver and driver side, and the buttons on the extreme left is for your co-driver with cool seats, and on the right you get obviously ventilated seat for the driver side. For the glove box you get a very different looking bluish yellowish lamp. Even though this is a Hyundai, you do not get the cool function, which is a big surprise to me actually because all the Hyundais get it. The glove box is a bit on the smaller side however, but it's finished in good premium plastic. Now I love this fabric touch just below the AC vents and this is the soft plastic, so you do not get any hard plastic treatment on the dashboard. This AC vent is invisible, you cannot see the open vents inside and there's this chrome garnish which is running across the dashboard. I love this. How the AC vents cut through the entire dashboard and how the instrument cluster is placed like a TV just inside this cutout of sorts is so innovative. There's one speaker right in the center. You get an overall 8 speaker Bose sound setup. So I love the design on the dashboard overall. Very nice looking. Now as for the seats, you get this chrome U-shaped line just below the headrest as well, which looks nice. A very good bolstering, amazing cushioning, very broad seats to keep you comfortable no matter what. You get adjustable headrest and adjustable seat belts also. So now for the other bits, in the sun visor, there's an extender of sorts to prevent you from the sun rays because that is the function of the sun visor. Let me just put it back. But for the mirror, we'll just come to that in a bit. Yeah, you get the mirrors which have a cover right in the front. You also get a lamp which is placed on top in the roofline itself, which is a halogen. Let me just close this lid. It's kind of a hassle because there's a polythene on top, but otherwise it's smooth. Now for the driver side, you also get the mirror with the lamp, exactly like the co-driver side as well. So there's the lid, you can see the mirror right there. The lamp is again a halogen placed exactly just like it was in the co-driver side. Now you get auto dimming IRVM as well, SOS buttons. This is closed, it does not open that black plastic. Now the lamps are LED. You can control this for door setting, and that's the LED lamp switch on or switch off button on the left. You get a one-touch functionality for the automatic blinds for the sunroof, and I love the finish on that button because it's a brushed aluminum finish on that button, which looks really nice. Now this is how the blinds open. Again, just like in any other car with the automatic blinds and the panoramic sunroof. Now the thing is that the glass pane does not open really wide. That is the farthest that it goes. So really small when it comes to the opening of that sunroof, and it's kind of a disappointment because you would expect it to go further back given the size of that huge sunroof. Now that was for the sunroof. Again, I would have appreciated two buttons, one for the blinds and one for the sunroof, but it just has one button. Automatic auto dimming IRVMs, as I already mentioned. This car also has the automatic rain sensing wipers and the auto headlamps as well. The left stalk is for your wipers and the right stalk is for your headlamps, just like in any other Hyundai. So that was most of the features. It also comes with 6 airbags. Now for the ADAS, this is a level 2 setup instead of a level 1 setup which you normally get in the likes of say XUV 700. There are a lot of features which that advanced driver assistance system offers. It would require me a whole another video to explain all the features, but in a gist, you get lane departure warning, lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control, forward collision mitigation, driver attention monitor, driver drowsiness, traffic assistance, and a lot many other things. For example, if there's a pedestrian or a car crossing the road and you don't react and apply the brakes, the car will automatically slow down and maybe even stop to a halt. Now, for the other things, if you're parking or reversing in a tight spot, if there's any object which is behind, the car will automatically apply its brakes. If there's any oncoming traffic, the car will automatically switch from high beam to low beam so as to not cause any irritation to the oncoming traffic or any mishappenings, so to say. So again, a lot of features for this ADAS. The level 3 gets autonomous driving, but there are few aspects in the adaptive cruise control which will let you have a taste of what autonomous driving feels like. So that was for the ADAS. I might come up with another video to explain it in a lot of detail, but that was the gist of what Hyundai Tucson's advanced driver assistance system offers. All in all, a very good product offering at a very justified price. The Hyundai Tucson competes with the likes of Jeep Compass, the Jeep Meridian, XUV 700, and even the top variants of the Harrier or the Safari. And not to forget the Citroen C5 Aircross as well. Now, if talking about the variants, I think this one, the signature variant diesel, is the one to go for because it offers a lot more torque than the petrol option, and also the diesel's mileage would be relatively higher than what you would get in the petrol. You also get an 8-speed transmission as compared to the 6-speed transmission in the petrol variant as well. So the diesel option would be the one to go for. The 4-wheel drive is basically your call, and that depends on how much off-roading you want to do. As for the difference between the variants in the same engine spec, there's a difference of almost 2.6 lakhs between the Platinum and the Signature variant in the 2.0 diesel engine option. Now for that difference, you get heated and ventilated seats, the Boss mode, and the 10-way adjustability for the driver's side. The power tailgate is also exclusive to the Signature variant. One more thing worth noting is that if you have to go for an all-wheel drive option, you have to go with the 2-liter diesel Signature variant because that is the only variant where you get the option to upgrade to an all-wheel drive. Although the difference is humongous with around 4.5 lakhs over the 2-liter diesel Platinum option. So this was everything I had to say about the new Hyundai Tucson 2022 Signature variant. Do let us know in the comments what you think about this car, and would you buy one if you had a budget of around 35 lakhs for a premium SUV. Subscribe to Throttle Up for more such car reviews. Do not forget to like this video if you liked our review. Keep watching Throttle Up.